Vice Project Doom is a game that I discovered way too late in my gaming life. I've always been a huge fan of side-scrolling action games, and I thought I'd played most of the best ones for the NES, but I was wrong. This game mixes so many things together and gets it right: top-down driving, side-scrolling action platforming, and also first-person shooter stages. It even has cutscenes that look fantastic, lead the story, and are very much like Ninja Gaiden's for the NES. You play as Detective Hart on an assignment to uncover the secrets of the BEDA Corporation, and also try and figure out what happened to your partner Reese, who's gone missing. I don't want to give away too much about the story because it gets pretty wild, and there's a good bit going on. Vice has an 80s vibe that is meshed with cyberpunk. Feels like so many cool sci-fi movies and books that I grew up with, which is a great thing. So let's get into it. You start the game in a driving stage that is very reminiscent of the game Spy Hunter, and Hart is in hot pursuit of a suspect. You're able to drive, shoot, and even switch into 3 different gears on your car. I didn't even know you could change gears until I was reading the manual well after playing through the game, so you don't really have to use that if you don't want. The stage is very short, but it gets you pumped up and ready for more action. Next up is one of the side-scrolling stages that take up the majority of the game. In these, Hart will be armed with a decent arsenal of weapons to dispense some hardcore justice with. These include a laser whip, 44 Magnum, and M24 grenades. And much like Batman for the NES, you can switch between these 3 weapons at any time, and you'll pick up ammunition for bullets and grenades from enemies after they die. Thankfully, the laser whip needs no ammunition and is just badass. The enemies are varied and range from crazy Chinese vampires to ninjas to even cats. Everything wants Hart dead, and these stages are all out action. Thankfully, even if you are beaten up pretty badly, the enemy before the end of his section usually has some food you can eat for health. Hart can take quite a beating too, so it takes a lot to put him down. Enemies will drop health, ammo, and coins. If you collect 100 coins, you'll receive an extra life, which comes in handy even though checkpoints are very fair and continues are unlimited. There are also a few first-person shooting stages, and they're very short as well, but are still pretty neat. Out of all the segment types, this one's my least favorite, but they aren't bad by any means. The second one can be a bit tough though if you don't take out enemies fast enough, or happen to miss some of the bullet power-ups that briefly appear. It's easy to get a little trigger happy and miss a lot, so I recommend getting these just in case, because bullets are limited. Also, figuring out which enemies drop health makes the sections a lot easier. There are bosses at the end of each stage except the first person sections, and they can offer up a bit of a challenge if you don't know what their patterns are. Once you learn that though, you'll rip through them in no time and feel like a huge badass. The only boss that really gave me a hard time was the last one, but I'm not going to spoil that part. I'll just say that you might be happy you have unlimited continues when you get to that section. Honestly though, for an NES game, this has pretty balanced difficulty. It is very fair, and I was happy with how they set up the checkpoints. You won't be bashing your head against the wall in frustration like you might with Ninja Gaiden or something like that. I highly recommend this little gem, so if you find one out in the wild or on the internet for a good price, snag it. It's well worth adding to your collection, and the price is pretty fair for a cart right now. If you're a fan of great old school action platformers, then don't miss out on Vice Project Doom.